This guitar came with a broken truss rod, and I've been sharing the repair process. Today I'm getting the new frets installed. After removing the rubber tubing I used to clamp everything down, I got everything cleaned up and made sure that the newly installed truss rod was working. I was really relieved to see that it worked perfectly, and then I got the neck all straightened out. I cleaned out the fret slots to receive their new frets and radius and fret wire, making sure that the radius was a little bit tighter than the 12-inch radius of the fingerboard, and cut all of the fret wire to length. Since I added binding to the neck, I can't install the frets with the tangs fully intact. My fret tang nipper from Stumac works great to remove a small portion of tang from either side so that the fret can sit fully within the binding. I then have to clean up those cut tangs to make the fret bottoms perfectly smooth. Even a little edge left over from the tang can lead to the fret sitting unevenly, and I want to sand as little fret as I possibly can once I get to the level and crown stage. That means that getting the frets as level as possible in the install is really important. I'm using a hammer to get these frets installed. This method requires the right touch to get the frets to sit just right. Too much power can damage the frets, too little won't get the fret all the way into the slot. Let me know in the comments if you've been enjoying this process and if you want to see the next step of getting the frets leveled and crowned. Once the frets were all hammered in, I cleaned up the ends with a flat file, getting them flush with the fingerboard. I then used my fret guru fret end file to cut off the sharp corners of each fret. Going in with some sandpaper after all of that leaves me with a slightly rolled fingerboard edge and no sharp metal to catch my hands while playing. I gifted myself this Epiphone Wilshire to celebrate quitting vaping, and it's definitely tested my willingness to stay nicotine-free. This guitar came with a broken truss rod, and I've been sharing the repair process. Today I'm getting the frets leveled, crowned, and polished. Since I was very thorough in hammering in the frets in my last video, not a lot of sanding was needed to get all of the frets level with each other. I went through with 600 grit sandpaper on my leveling beam and worked away sanding until the marker I laid down on all of the fret tops was gone. In my final passes, I ran the sanding beam along the length of the frets to help make working out the tooling marks a little easier. I then marked off the fret tops again and used my 3-corner file to reintroduce the crowns to the frets. This step is very important because across the length of the neck, flat fret tops can throw your scale length off. The distance between frets is very precise, and flat frets can add or subtract from that distance, making fretted notes sound off even when your guitar is tuned and intonated at the 12th fret. By filing the frets to have a thin point along the center, it gives your guitar its best chance at playing to its full potential. Once all of the frets were crowned, I oiled up the fingerboard. This grain already looked beautiful before this step, but the oil really shows off how amazing the figuring in this wood is. I finally polished up all of the frets, and now this guitar is ready to get the electronics installed. Let me know in the comments if the amount of work I put into this guitar gives me a free pass to start vaping again. On a more serious note, let me know if you want to see what pickups I end up putting into this guitar and if you want to hear a sound sample. The guitar is so close to actually feeling like a reward instead of a total bummer, and the finish line is finally in sight.